friends, welcome back to the Gough House. If you've been here before, if you're new, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jenny, and it is Sunday afternoon, and I am about to get started with dinner. Today I'm going to bring you along as I make some homemade manicotti. So pull a chair up to my counter and let's get started. All right, we're going to start with the batter. So making manicotti, they're actually made with a crepe, not a regular noodle. 2 eggs, a couple dashes of salt, a half a cup of all-purpose flour, half a cup of water. We're going to make a very loose crepe batter. Well, crepe batter, which is a very loose dough, I guess I should say. For this, I'm going to get it on a medium-high heat. You can use olive oil, butter, any oil you want. I'm going to use butter. I am out of olive oil. So you just want to put a little bit of butter in there. Okay, so spoonful of batter. You want it thin and only about 4 inches. I'm going to put a little bit more. This is a tiny ladle. We need to smooth this out to about 4 inches. And as soon as that sets on the one side, we'll flip it. You don't want to get them brown and crispy. It's like making pancakes. The first one's always the worst one. They get better as they go. Okay, so I'm going to continue on making these, and when I'm done, I'll bring you back for the filling part. Okay, for the filling, in the same bowl, I put 1.5 cups of ricotta cheese. I am going to sprinkle in a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of dried parsley, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, quarter teaspoon of white pepper, quarter cup of grated Parmesan. We're going to stir this together, and then we're going to add some mozzarella. And then with manicotti, you can use whatever sauce you like. If you've got a favorite red sauce, I would just use my homemade tomato sauce and then add some seasonings to it. We're going to use about a half a cup of mozzarella. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to make a white sauce. We're going to put white sauce over our manicotti today. Now you can do just a basic bechamel, but of course we're going to add in a couple tablespoons of butter there. I am going to use garlic in mine. You don't have to. I just really love garlic, and I love garlic sauce. So that is what I am going to do. I'm going to put in like 3 cloves of garlic. A little bit of salt and pepper on my garlic. A couple tablespoons of flour. Okay, I'm going to add milk. I don't want this too toasted. I'm using whole milk. Into this, I'm going to put a half a teaspoon of chicken bouillon. It makes a difference. It improves the flavor greatly. Also going to add more pepper, probably 1/4 of a teaspoon. Some kosher salt here. A good sprinkle. At this point, this is a bechamel. You can leave it at this and pour it over your pasta. I'm going to add cheese in it though, therefore turning it into a Mornay sauce. This is not an Alfredo sauce. This is not how you make Alfredo. This is how you make a bechamel or Mornay sauce. Alfredo sauce is heavy cream. You don't start it out with a roux. I am preheating my oven to 350 degrees. I'm going to put about a 1/4 cup in there. I don't like it super cheesy, so a 1/4 cup is good. I'm going to cook it just till the cheese melts. This is the baking dish. I'm going to put a little bit of sauce down. Of course, I just rinsed it out, so a little bit of water in there. And then we're going to take our crepes and we're going to put filling in, and we're going to wrap them up and seam side down, put it down. Oop, I guess that one's a little full. You want them pretty full, but not so full you can't close them. And that was the perfect amount of filling. And I got 8. And then my sauce is going over the top of that. And then I've got Parmesan in the sauce, so I'm going to go ahead and cover it with mozzarella. Probably about a half a cup's worth. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven, and we're going to bake this for about 30 minutes. And here it is, 30 minutes later out of the oven. I'm going to let these rest for a few minutes. You can tell it's very bubbly and hot. I want to be able to cut through the cheese. Okay, now that it's all covered with cheese, I don't know which direction to cut. But there is the edge of one of them. Yum! And then I've made chicken Parmesan to go with. And I've got red sauce on the side. So good. The texture of it done correctly with a crepe is so much better than a noodle, than a store-bought noodle boiled. Alright, that's all there is to making homemade manicotti. It is easier to make homemade manicotti than it is to run to the store and get manicotti noodles. Then you have to boil and try to stuff without ripping them, and they're not that good. So much easier and so much better. You are going to love this. If you haven't made homemade manicotti, give it a try. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and you like videos like these, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out a lot, and I sure do appreciate your support. You can find me on Instagram at Jeni Gough 18. I'm also on Facebook, and you can visit my blog at jenigough.com for all of my recipes, including this one. I will put the recipe card in the description below for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.